growing up, said we'd be young forever. You taught me how to love, and nothing could be better than you and me, baby, it was you and me.
So we're starting our Beluga tour. Oh, exciting.
On the wall on the right, please. Alright, so for those of you that have been in here, you already know about our ice wall. Those of you that haven't been into the exhibit yet, feel free to touch the ice wall if you would like to cool off even further. You can touch the ice wall and then join us right back over here. It is real ice. So it should feel pretty good. Yes, rub it all over. All right, and we will continue on this way. So if you follow me, we're going to walk past our beluga whale exhibit. This is their habitat. We also have underwater viewing for all three of our animals in this exhibit. So beluga whales, harbor seals, and walruses are in this area. And so there's above water viewing for all of them as well as underwater viewing. Now, you'll notice that we are walking past what appears to be a ship. So this ship is part of the Sir John Franklin, who was in the British Army. He, after the War of 1812, they were trying to explore and find a Northwest Passage. So he took out 2 ships and went on an expedition in the Northwest to try to find a passage. Well, they were blocked by ice, which is the case because in the northern part of the world, it's mostly water with some islands of land. And versus Antarctica at the bottom of the world, which is big land covered or surrounded by water. So they were not able to make it through, unfortunately. Both of their ships capsized, and so we kind of put a spin on that and set up this whole exhibit to be like a research station where we have researchers who are studying the animals in that area. All right, just watch your step through here. It is a little bit darker and a little narrower. We're going to head on behind the scenes. So come on in here. And we'll go ahead and get everybody in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Perfect. And then just make sure that door closes behind you. Thank you so much. Now, if you have anything that you would like to leave in those lockers we were talking about, just past the Coke machine is where the lockers are located. All right, so just follow me in through this door. There is a black mat. Just be careful as you're walking by. Hi there. If you want to get group pictures before we head back, okay. So let me have my first group. We're just going to stand up against the sign here. This is the first group. And up at the top where they get all the food ready each day to feed to all the animals in this exhibit. And then we're passing by our dive shop right now where they store all of the gear that they need for diving when they need to clean or go in we harbor to Sesame Street. There were a lot of those big plastic tunnels and tubes that they weren't going to reuse. So they actually brought them to some of the different animal exhibits for the animals to use. So the seals really like to swim through here. So that's one of the places that got some of those those pipes, those tunnels. So we recycled them basically instead of just throwing them away. We were able to reuse them, and now the animals get something new to play with. I mean, if we did the same thing every day, day after day after day, it'd be pretty boring, right? So we like to give them new things to play with and new things to do every day to keep them stimulated. I'm going to move this a little bit just so you can see. I always like to point out that beluga whales and narwhal whales are in the same family. They're not in the same family as the dolphins and the killer whales. Those are both dolphins, are in the dolphin family, Delphinidae. But beluga whales and narwhals are in their own family. So here we have a narwhal tusk. So one of their teeth that you can see. And then we also have a beluga whale skull. So you can actually get a glimpse of what it looks like inside their head. Well, you're probably not going to be fortunate enough to see a beluga whale out in the wild unless you're planning a very cold trip to the Arctic. But beluga whales are protected by a federal law, just like dolphins, killer whales, sea lions, seals, just like all of them are. They're federally protected by that Marine Mammal Protection Act. It was put in place in 1972 to help keep the animals safe, but also to help remind us to let them stay safe. So what do you think is going to happen if a dolphin or a killer whale starts coming up to your boat and you're trying to feed it? What do you think is going to happen? Yeah.
The dolphin is going to get used to like humans feeding them.
Exactly. And that is not something that we want to happen, because then they're going to get more comfortable coming up to boats, more likely to get injured by the boat. Also, we don't want to be feeding them things that are not part of their natural diet, right? We don't want to make them sick. So that law just makes it illegal in U.S. waters to try to interact with those marine animals, to try to feed them or touch them. So just make sure if you see any of them, you just keep your distance and just watch them from afar. But do I have any seafood lovers here? Anybody that really likes seafood? No? It's okay if you like it. Not a lot of seafood? Yes? Yeah? Okay, so for the seafood people, if you like seafood, there's an app called the Seafood Watch. And it basically just helps you know if the seafood you're eating is sustainable, which just means it's harvested in a way that is not harmful to the environment, but it also leaves enough in the ocean for the animals as well as us taking it out for consumption too. So it's a really simple app to use. You just download it from your app store and it works like a stoplight. If you get a green light for the seafood that you're wanting to buy, then that means, hey, there's an abundance of it and you can eat as much of it as you want. A yellow light means it's not quite in abundance, so maybe just eat it once in a while, not every day. And if you get a red light, it means, whoa, there's not a lot of that seafood, so maybe don't eat it for a while until it's had time to repopulate. Hi, okay. So it looks like they're ready for us, so we're going to go ahead and head to the outdoor area. All right, so follow me out the door. And then you're just going to have a seat on the benches here. Go ahead. Have a seat on the benches. If we run out of room, we have shade up above the benches.
Hey guys, just have a seat here. You can sit on the curb over here as well. Or if you want to have a seat on the curb, you can do that. If you want to stand in the shade. Start off. This is not where you need to be. Okay. Yeah, I'm sure like getting confused. Hi folks, my name is Alec. I'm one of the keepers up here at Wild Artic, and we'll be obviously introducing you to our two beluga whales since we are on the beluga tour today. But the beluga whales live with up to 7 male seals. We have 7 that could potentially live in this habitat with them. one of whom is putting up a bit of a stubborn fight over there. That's Turtle. He is 28 or 29, I can't remember. Is he 28 or 29? He's not paying attention. He's old. He's an old seal. And is he going to go in the hallway with you? So ideally we separate them from the whales when we do this tour because they can be a bit of a distraction for us and for the whales. So it's a little easier if we can get them out on the habitat. So we have a couple different ways that we can separate. Obviously the turtle may just be hanging out with us today though. He's putting up a bit of a fight here. So we have two beluga whales that live here in Orlando. We have Grayson, who's at the surface right here, and his half-brother Oliver, who's going to pop up over there in just a second. They were actually both born at SeaWorld in San Antonio, and they are 12 years old. They're only 3 days apart from each other. So they both had the same dad, had different moms, obviously. Their dad, Nanook, used to live here, and I knew him. He was a really cool whale. And Oliver is just slightly older. He's the 3 days older than Grayson. They do have very different personalities, and when it was getting time for us to get ready for transports, because these guys actually just joined us here in February, I was sent to Texas to learn a little bit about Oliver, and while I was there, I met some people that had known Grayson as well, and they told me Oliver they always thought of as kind of the book smart one, the ready to go, learning stuff, and Grayson was more of the jock type, a little bit slower on the pickup, but still a really great whale to work with. And we've seen that a little bit here, but they're both a lot of fun. Yeah, so just a little bit about our area. So right now you're seeing our guillotine gate go down. Obviously it goes up and down like a guillotine, so we can separate the whales and the seals, or the whales from each other, or if we just want to have the whales have access to the habitat or to the back area, the guillotine gates can go up and down. This smaller pool here in the middle is our medical pool. It actually has a false bottom floor to it, so we can lift that floor up out from under the whales if we need to do any sort of medical procedures on them. Obviously they're a little bit on the big side, so the vets have to come to see them. We can't take them to see the vets. So the floor just lifts right up and we can do any sort of medical procedures with them. And then this is our holding pool back here, and right now that is predominantly what we use for doing tours. And they've been back here on and off throughout the day. We've done some fun things with them already. We try to mix up the sessions that we do. They're going to get fed a minimum of 6 times a day. And each of them is getting somewhere between 30 and 40 pounds a day right now. And that can fluctuate depending on what they're showing us as far as their appetite goes and how interested they are in sessions and that sort of thing. Right now they're both weighing in somewhere between 12 and 1,400 pounds. They could get a lot bigger as they get older. 12 years old is sort of, they're not teenagers per se, but maybe but not middle-aged yet. Average whale lifespan for the belugas is going to be somewhere between maybe 20 and 30, but their maximum life expectancy could be all the way up to 60 years old. But that would be like a person living to be 110. It happens, but it's not the norm. This is Grayson right here. Grayson's personality, like I said, he's a little, I prefer to call him a little derpy. If you see those hashtag derp or derp king or whatever, mostly with dogs, but if he was a dog, he would be a lap dog who'd just be like, hi. That's kind of Grayson. Oliver is a little bit more sensitive to change. He's a little bit more sensitive to what's going around him. He always has to see what's going on. So it looks like they're getting ready to come out. Just a couple things, guidelines, rules about how things go here. We're going to invite you up in your family groups. How's everybody separated up? 4, 2, 1. Okay. So we'll bring you up in your groups. You are welcome to take photos as long as you are sitting here. If you are, when you're up here, you either have to leave your phone or camera, whatever, here on the bench or in your pocket because we don't want anything falling into the water. Mitzi's over here. She's going to be taking photos throughout. Make sure that you're not doing a lot of fidgeting. Once you get up here, just kind of sit in place and please listen to instructions. Please do not touch until you're told to touch, and any sort of hand signals we ask you to do, only do them when you are asked to do that. We communicate with the whales with our hands. They can't really hear our voices, so if you're doing a lot of weird stuff with your hands, they might get a little bit confused. And they're also big scaredy cats, so anything that they are expecting could send them away from you. So just make sure that you're listening to instructions and staying nice and calm while you're up here. Last thing, it is a big pool of water. We will not intentionally splash you, but they're big whales. They move water around, so you might get wet. Your shoes might get wet. Your knees might get wet. If you are not able to kneel down, just let Carlin or Callan know and we can work around that. All right? Because they could deal with temperatures that are sub-zero. Saltwater freezes at a lower temperature than freshwater does. And they are a species of whale that actually spends their entire lives in the Arctic. They don't really migrate south. So there aren't really a whole lot of species that do that. They are one of them. What's going on over there? So yeah, I don't know how much the air really affects them too much. I'm sure that they can feel it just like when we breathing cold air or hot air. There's a difference, but I don't see anything that indicates to me that it's something that affects them on a day-to-day basis. It is a bit of an adjustment for Oliver because Oliver has, until February, he had spent his entire life at SeaWorld in San Antonio. Grayson has actually been at 2 aquariums since he was at San Antonio before he got here. So he spent time at Georgia Aquarium in Atlanta, and he also spent time at Shed Aquarium in Chicago, both of which are indoor aquariums. So he's used to the idea of going or like being inside in maybe a darker space. For Oliver, it's a bit of an adjustment. He's been doing really well. They do tend to prefer being out here where it's bright, and we, for the most part, will keep it open all day long so that they can go back and forth. But depending on what we want to do with them. Especially because of the seals, sometimes we have to separate them away from the seals so that we can do specific things with them, especially because the seals don't eat as much as they do. So if we step up to the whales, we also have to step up to the seals, and we're going to go through that seal food a lot faster than we're going to go through that whale food. So sometimes it's just a matter of convenience, so that we can do specific things. Like this morning, we stepped up and did some basic feeds with them, just some basic husbandry checks, just checking them every day. They do help us in their care so we can present various parts of their body to us so we can examine them. And then for fun, around 11 o'clock, we did our last sort of AM session where we separated them back here, and there were 4 of us in wetsuits, and we all took turns getting in with them and doing all kinds of stuff. Oliver is really experienced with that, having come from Texas, because in the Texas park, they actually have a show with the whales, and they do get in with the beluga whales and do all kinds of stuff, which is not something that we've really done here because we're not really set up for that. I was going to talk about that with you, and then you asked. So they do a show in San Antonio. They have, right now, they have 8 whales there, and they have Pacific white-sided dolphins with them as well. Sort of black and white stripy species. They're so fast. I had never seen them as an adult. I remember seeing them as a kid in SeaWorld, Ohio. I was not prepared for how fast they were. They just leap out of the 20 feet out of the water. But yeah, they do get in with them and do all kinds of different stuff. And like I said, I try and get in with them as often as I can, just because I know.
They're so excited. They know Oliver's famous.
Oliver's.
Yeah, he's famous.
Oh yes, he is famous.
They're like, we saw pictures when he first came here, and I was like, he's also in the new commercial.
He's everywhere. Oliver, actually, yes, he is. If you've seen our most recent commercial where there's a beluga right at the beginning and he blows bubbles, that is Oliver. That was filmed when he was still in Texas, but that is Oliver. And there's actually another PR shot that has been used a lot that I didn't know was Oliver until I met Oliver. I was like, there he is. He's all over the place. So he is famous. But yeah, they do get in. They do all kinds of stuff with them. They are obviously set up to do some tours. I mean, they have a stadium, so it's...
Well, the toilet we're doing, they have a go in with them.
Right, they have a much bigger, a better setup for them. So in their back pools, they actually have two holding pools that have a waist-deep ledge where you can just stand on the ledge with them. We just, when they built this park, they just put set up for that. You know, so we're doing the best of what we can. San Antonio has, or excuse me, San Diego has, sure, they have a similar set. Well, not exactly, it's more of an exhibit, but they have a ledge. In what? Okay. Hold, please. So Oliver knows a few more vocalizations than Grayson does. Vocalizations for whales and dolphins all come from the blowhole on the top of their head. They don't make any noise with their mouth. I'm gonna go back. I'm not. You guys can. You're here to see the whale, not me. So. All of the vocalizations come from the blowhole on top of their head. They blow air out and they can flex their melons and the muscles around the blowhole to change the sounds that they make, similar to how we use our lips to change the sounds that we make. But they make no sounds in their mouth, they have no vocal cords, they don't have any air supply to their mouth at all comes from that blowhole. And when we're training them to make noises on cue, we have to catch them in the act. So we call it capturing the behavior. So at some point, any noise that you hear them making when we ask them to make it, they just made it randomly, and we gave them enough fish and reinforced it often enough to say like, oh, every time I make this noise, I get reinforced for it. So and you can capture other behaviors like that too. Vocals are literally, you cannot get that unless they're accidentally doing it. Because the target pole, as you guys can see, I mean, you can shape the behavior, literally shape it by moving the target pole around. They know to follow it. With vocalizations, they just have to make it. And so Ollie actually knows 4 different vocalizations. Grayson only knows technically 1. But when we had 2 whales here before, these guys came. Now, Wild Artic, who went to Texas, and Whisper, who went to Georgia. Whisper had a few that she did, and Wild Artic only had 2 when he first got here. He actually learned another one while he was here. So it's just a matter of kind of playing around with them and getting them to get excited and make a bunch of different noises, and then reinforcing it enough to get it on a cue consistently. So Oliver sounds like a duck. He does a little bird chirp sound. He does a sort of a raspberry sound. And then sort of like a foghorn, I guess you could say. Yeah, come up a little bit there. That's better. All right, folks. Do you have any last questions about whales? Huh? I'm good. Good. Cool. Yes. So Oliver, I see them every day. So, but Oliver is a little bit grayer than Grayson is. Grayson's melon is a little bit rounder. See, Oliver's kind of gets a little flat towards the front there. Oliver's is a little bit rounder. Oliver also has some little marks on his melon a little bit. But the biggest one is Grayson's a little bit whiter than Oliver is. Yeah.
Do we sleep at all?
The surface, they'll do that too.
Was it like, can they breathe out of water or underwater?
They cannot breathe that big.
So we have just done the Beluga tour, and
It's brilliant.
it was brilliant.
We had Oliver, which I was really happy about, when he moved here in February, they said, didn't they?
Yeah.
So I saw pictures of him on Facebook, and he's so cute.
And
I was
he-
really glad that we had him over Grayson. Grayson's cool, but Oliver's cute.
Oliver was really good, and he did. He's in the new SeaWorld commercial that we got told. So, but no, I really enjoyed it.
It's excellent.
I want to do another one. let's all do. Let's do another one. So the encounter, the trainers were brilliant. So they're out in here now.